NewGenGamers.com.
Yeah, it's by the time they finally got the system home, things started to make a turn for the worse for him, because he had a much different philosophy than the corporate guys and the investors would want. And by the time they sold out to Warner, he was pretty much done with the company. They did not like his philosophy, and he didn't like theirs. And you got to figure, we're talking about, you know, guys that come in to this industry with a hippie mentality, didn't really get focused on, you know, making deadlines, making the next quarter, and they had a fun, free spirit, and that does not work when you're working for Warner Communications or a large corporation.
Yeah, they tend to take those things and think your business ethic is just horrible.
So instantly,
Bushnell became enemy number one to the Warner brass. Yeah,
horns were clashed, and the guy was pretty much forced out of the company. And, you know, from his discretion and theirs, you know, it was just a bad situation. By 1978, he was gone. This is only 2 years after the 2600 came out and 4 years before this system would launch. So, you know, what we've talked about mostly here is essentially what happened after he left.
Yeah, after Bushnell left, they put a man in charge, Warner did, in Ray Kassar. Ray Kassar had a background in textiles, in making towels and clothing. That was his main industry. And then he had gotten a job at Warner. So he was basically handling all of the creative talent at Atari like they were just middle-class, blue-collar workers that don't do anything artistic.
He didn't view video games as artistic works. He viewed them as a product that you just produced. Like you sit down in the sweatshop and 8 hours later, oh, the video game popped out. It's ready now.
Yeah,
throw it in the oven and it's ready.
He had no belief in creative control or anything like that. And
he saw no difference between the person that designs the towels, the design on a towel, as opposed to somebody who creates this magic mushroom fantasy world with centipede monsters eating a young child.
Yeah,
he didn't see the difference between those.
He basically flat out said to one of the designers, I can't remember his name right now, but that you people are just like towel designers. You're a dime a dozen.
A dime a dozen for this, and so they started making games that were worth about a dime a dozen.
Yeah, that's pretty much the quality that popped out.
The smart people, you know,
formed other companies, started working for the competition.
Yeah, they abandoned the company. You know, right there you see Nolan Bushnell left, Al Acorn left, the other early programmers like Bob Whitehead and Larry. I can't think of his name offhand. The guy that founded Activision.
Cartwright.
Yeah. Oh, Cartwright was another one of the Activision programmers. There was just a slew of them. Basically, everyone that was their head leads
all left.
All left and just said, screw you guys. We're going to make our own company and do this the way we want. And they were uber successful with that. And you would see the Activision titles prominently on the other systems, but not so much on this system.
Well,
not that they had that many releases, but, you know, I think they didn't even want to be involved again with Atari.
Another main problem with the way that he treated the programmers there is lack of compensation. He would not give them more than a small royalty on what the games made. He wouldn't let them have any of the profit sharing or anything of that result from their creative work.
Yeah, there was no incentive to make the best game ever because you're going to get paid the same, bitch.
Yeah, it's pretty much like working a per-hour job and being told to be creative.
Yeah, and so there was just a real clash between philosophies there. And had Bushnell been with the company then, he would have appreciated that probably and probably pushed for that, but
Who knows what the video game landscape would have been like if Bushnell would have stayed.
But this was Warner Communications, and they didn't view that, and putting Ray Kassar in charge of that division was not right, because obviously he was not the right guy for that type of position.
No,
he should have stayed with textiles. And
there is one thing that he got right. He decided that instead of pushing creative content or R&D, that's another thing that he had trouble with, was he didn't like running the R&D department. He didn't think you needed research and development for new systems.
It's like a towel, you just make a different color.
Yeah, it's that kind of philosophy which killed Atari, but he really just didn't appreciate anything that was coming out. And I don't know. Do you want to? Let's move on to another arcade game, and we'll continue this story.
Yeah, another great arcade game.
A great arcade classic from Midway.
Yeah, another great Midway title brought home, and pretty good graphics for the system. Get that egg. Now, what are you? You're a birdman battling ostriches or some shit?
Yeah.
The game is very bizarre, but hey.
I think you're an ostrich battling birdmen.
You're jousting in some sort of futuristic wonder world where birdmen and ostriches have a feud for some reason. But that's all you need to know in 1982, 3-ish, you know?
Yeah, it's just really weird.
And so you are jousting. You got to try and knock your opponents off. You are Yellow Birdman versus Ostrich Men Red. I assume you're Birdman.
You're Birdman Yellow. Or no, you're Ostrich.
So, we've talked about quite a few reasons why Atari was doing pretty poorly, and they started losing all this money, and 1983 was basically the year all the bullshit in a cartridge hit the fan. And
they posted one of the hugest losses ever. It was $536 million.
$500 million.
$500 million in 1 year.
In 1983 dollars.
That is basically almost $1 trillion.
Corporate poison. No, that's $500 million, but at that time, $1 billion was worth a lot more than it is today. We don't throw.
That's why I'm trying to figure out the inflation on that. Yeah, wouldn't that be like $1 trillion or something?
Oh, yeah, probably somewhere. It would probably be like a $500 billion loss today.
Oh my god.
Got it. Joust.
Joust, the video game where buzzard men battle ostrich men. The graphics go beyond your wildest dreams.
New Gen Gamer.